Hello, everybody. My name is Joey Park, and the topic I chose was verbal and nonverbal strategies. And please bear with me, I am trying to do this in one take as I am not tech savvy at all. I chose this topic because, as an ESL learner and as an educator that teaches English as a second language, I utilize a lot of nonverbal strategies in the classroom, outside of the classroom, and a lot of, for classroom management and behavior, we always think of using verbal strategies a lot, as in sit down, do your work, things like that. But nonverbal strategies are just as important. When deciphering when to use verbal and nonverbal strategies, these are factors to take into consideration. First and foremost, well, a lot in my case are some of your students don't understand what you're saying. For my English language learners, if they have their hoods on, or if they're running down the hallway, or if they're cursing, and if you say in English, stop cursing, take your hood off, a lot of the times they don't understand what the teacher's saying. So nonverbal cues, like when I want my students to take their hoods off, I act like I'm taking my hood off. Or if I see running in the hallways, I lower my hands down and pat my hands down as to kind of let them know, to slow down. And also students with disabilities, you could have students that are hearing impaired, or you could have students that don't like getting yelled at, and it can be triggering for them. I know at I work at a Title I school in a very low income, underprivileged community, and when you yell at students verbally, they don't respond well. And that's the case for me. Growing up in my own childhood, I disliked when my teachers would yell at me. So also the tone of your voice and student preferences, like some students prefer verbal communication and some don't like to be called out on, or would feel embarrassed or even ashamed if they're called out in the classroom. So something simply as going by their desk and shaking your head no, or having a one-on-one conversation with them. For verbal communication, it is very important, as we know, for direct instruction. However, these are other ways verbal communication can be used in the classroom, outside of the classroom. I use verbal communication a lot for positive feedback and constructive criticism. Constructive criticism as to not to deter my students from behaving well, but to encourage them to do better and to do their best. Some of my favorite verbal strategies to use, especially to diffuse bad or negative classroom behavior, is I approach students and I tell them to breathe, or if they're in any type of altercation with another student or another teacher and it's very elevated, instead of blaming them and saying things like, what did you do? Sit down. I go up to them and I simply ask in a calm tone, what happened? Are you okay? Is there anything I can do to help? And for positive reinforcement, I like to give an inkling of my personality. I am openly gay at my school, and so I like to say, you better work, yes, come on. And that definitely motivates my students and gives them a laugh, which is good for me and them. And nonverbal strategies, a lot of nonverbal strategies are derived from your body language. Is it welcoming? Is it not? And also the tone of your voice. Are you loud? Is your tone, does it seem, I hate the word aggressive, but is it, a bit aggressive, or it can be assertive? And some tips on nonverbal strategies are, be aware of where your hands are at, your posture, moving around the room. We like to call it at my school the power zone, where you're always in the middle of the room. You're known. Your students can see you. They can see the look on your face. If you're pleased, if you're disappointed with a frown, and also using a welcoming, positive tone is greatly beneficial. My favorite nonverbal strategies are just a simple head nod, yes or a no. If they're doing something well, I shake my head up and down and I smile. Smiling, I found to be very, very beneficial with my students. Even if I'm just frowning, not at them, but just in my little corner in the office, they come up to me and they ask me, is anything wrong? Or are you having a bad day? So nonverbal strategies, just as laughing, smiling, mean everything to the students. And some students, want that approval that they are doing well in your class. I do not have great RBF face. I'm usually a positive person. So if a student does something that I don't agree with, my jaw is just open, and they know to change their behavior. Because if my jaw is open, something is wrong, like the picture on the right. And then also just a thumbs up is great. So in conclusion, verbal and nonverbal strategies are equally important in the classroom, not just for classroom management and behavior, but also for those interpersonal connections with the students, to let them know how they are doing and to know that you see them and they are seen. And yeah, so thank you for listening to my presentation.